Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 3.1. Now in this Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali has stepped into the Vibhuti path, which talks about the different Vibhutis and the different Siddhis that a Yoga sadhak attains on the path of yoga. However, the first 8 sutras still talk about Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi, after which we head into more discussion on the Vibhutis. So in this particular sutra, we're going to understand the meaning of Dharana and how that facilitates the overall practice and process of yoga for the Yoga sadhak. So let's take a good look at the sutra, start breaking it up word by word and understanding it even further. So the sutra itself goes, Desha bandhash chittasya dharana. Alright, so this is the sutra itself. Now let's look at each of the words and try to understand what is the sutra trying to tell us. So the first word here is Desha, and Desha refers to a specific region or area or a conceptual sphere in the mind. Then coming to the next word, it is Bandha, and Bandha refers to binding, fixating or joining something together. Then comes the next word, which is Chittasya, which is referring to the chitta or the consciousness and saying of the consciousness or the consciousness of. And then the final word, of course, is Dharana, which is the word that we're defining in the sutra in trying to understand better. Now, as a whole, what the sutra is trying to say is Dharana is that process where the mind and the consciousness are bound to one conceptual region or one particular sphere. And that particular concentration is known as Dharana. So now that we know the overall understanding of the sutra, let's get into it a little bit deeper and start understanding it even more. Alright, so essentially Dharana is that space or that technique through which we can focus the mind upon a conceptual region and have it remain within that space. Now, usually what happens when we first start meditating is that you sit down to meditate and all kinds of thoughts enter your mind. So it's very difficult to even stay in the same domain. Even if you're trying to concentrate upon, say for example, a crystal or something that you've kept in front of you, the mind takes you to lunch, dinner, exams, your schedule for the next day, and there's just a lot going on within the mind space constantly. And so that's why it's really important that we have dharana come in at a later stage where the mind is now trained a little bit and is able to stay at least within the same domain or the same region. This trains the mind to not venture out too far away to unrelated subjects and to stay within a specific subject area. So this is really important and is often compared to the way a horse or a particular animal might sometimes be tied to a rope in order to prevent it from straying too far away. In the same way, the horse might try to move but goes only in that much of a sphere of the arc through which it has been tied. And so because of that, it tends to stay in the same area. And the same thing ends up happening with the mind. It tends to remain in the same area if we have given it a particular subject. Now, one of the recommendations that a lot of commentators give us is that if you're choosing a subject, try to make it a pleasant subject or a subject that you are deeply devoted to already. So it could be a guru, it could be a form of divinity, a god or a goddess, or anything else that you really feel for, because it takes a long time to want to focus on that object. So the more you like it or the more you have reverence for it, the easier it will get to concentrate upon it. Now, here as well, we have to remember a few things. The minute we start to concentrate and we even enter into the sphere of dharana, what is going to happen, as we had discussed in Sutra 1.17 in the Samapattis, is that while first concentrating, all the vitarkas or the negative associations start rising to the surface. That's why many times when we might be meditating for the initial days, a lot of tears, a lot of repressed emotions rise to the surface because we've kind of, pushed them down for so long that now when we sit in meditation, they all start coming up to the surface. So it's said that the Nirvitarka and Savitarka Samapatti takes place first, where all those things start coming up to the surface and one has to kind of deal with them, go through them to reach the later stages of Samapatti. From there we go into Savichar and eventually Nirvichar, and at the threshold of Nirvichar we then step into Dhyan, which the next sutra talks about. So as you can see, lots is happening within the dharana itself. We're concentrating on a particular subject, we're trying to stay within the same domain. Once we've decided to stay within the same domain, a lot of negative preconceptions start to rise. Then we have the good thoughts or the positive ones associated with it. Then finally we go to a space where there's asmita and the other ego sense, which kind of helps you to create positive affirmations, but still it's a thought wave and it's kind of concerned with the noun, the understanding of that subject from a more gross level. And then finally, as you go further and further beyond Sarvichara as well, we reach Nirvichar and then slowly start beginning to slip into Dhyan. So the process of dharana itself, as you can see, is quite layered, it's quite technical, it takes some time. So the best we can do is keep trying to move towards it, keep trying to bind the mind in one specific domain or subject area so it doesn't stray too far away. And using that, we can then start moving towards the meditative practices. So I hope this video has helped you to understand Sutra 3.1, what it's all about and how Muni Patanjali defines dharana. If you have any comments, suggestions or questions, please leave that in the comments box below. And also don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel since we release new videos every single week. And also don't forget to check out the links in the description to join us for any future classes, courses and workshops. We look forward to seeing you at the next one. Until then, take care, keep practicing, and we'll see you very soon. Namaste.